Hey guys, welcome to Balls R Us, and today I was just going to talk about a couple things. But first I want to give a shout out to Infinity Wars. They hooked me up with some cool stickers. They're on Instagram. I got a magnet. I actually have that on my fridge right now. Got pretty neat looking stickers. One's a hologram or holographic. One's just a regular sticker, and I got a magnet. But you can follow on Instagram. You got some nice cool stuff going on. But I just want to give them a shout out for doing a sticker swap with me. One thing I want to talk about is, you know, in this hobby, it's not just about the passion of the snakes, but we also have, you know, we have to deal with sales. And one thing that I've been noticing, and I just wanted to touch base with, especially with everything that's going on with, you know, in Texas, and how people are struggling to keep their animals alive, and just watching and seeing certain breeders, you know, show so much love towards one another, and then watching other breeders just say the dumbest things I've ever seen or heard. But the one thing about sales, and I've been in sales for many years, I went to a lot of training seminars. I have a lot of experience in it, and that's the one thing people don't realize when they get into this hobby, is that you're a salesman. When it comes down to it, yeah, it's selling snakes is easy. You know, a lot of times when people buy snakes off you, they already know what they want. But there's more to it than just selling a snake. There's a lot of more background to it. And some people just do things naturally, some people don't. But I figure I'll make a couple segments touching base on just things I've learned over the years. And the first thing I wanted to touch base on was, I remember when I went on an interview. I went to a job interview, and it's to sell forklifts. And the first thing the guy asked me was, do you have empathy? And at first I just sat there and thought about it. And it's almost like a trick question. But then it really got me to think, and I think that's what he wanted to, you know, that's what he wanted to hit during the interview. We could sit here and act like we breed the best animals in the world, but one of the main components of being a salesman, or just being in sales, especially in this hobby, is empathy. You know, and that's putting yourself in other people's shoes. That's thinking how the other people feel about the whole transaction, what their feelings are, and how it's going to affect them and their thought process. And a lot of you guys don't have it. And maybe it's because of just the ignorance of not really thinking about it, or just knowing that empathy is a big part of this hobby. But, you know, people, they have feelings, you know, and those feelings get them to make decisions in buying. Because I see a lot of stuff, people complaining about, oh, there's a lot of tire kickers, and, you know, I can't stand that a bunch of people just, I keep on giving them prices on snakes and nobody ever buys from me. But I guarantee you it has to do with something of how you're approaching the sale and how you're dealing with it. And empathy is one of them. You know, everything a person tells you, how a person feels, you know, sometimes it's not BS. Sometimes it's real life issues, you know. And I've been seeing a lot of people talk down on people on these Facebook groups, and it's amazing. And I see these big so-called breeders, and how they talk down to people and make them feel like garbage. Like that's uncalled for. You know, you would be amazed how you can just show somebody a little bit more empathy and just put yourself in their shoes when you're trying to buy a snake off you. You know, and everything they say can be a clue of what will help you to get to close that sale. Don't think everybody's just a tire kicker wasting your time. That's not how sales works. But, you know, we really got to have more empathy for people in this kind of in this hobby. And that comes down to even how they house and take care of their animals. You know, you can't tell a person they don't love their animals because they're using a certain thermostat, or the thermostat isn't up to your standards. You know, I'm not going to tell people that you shouldn't be keeping snakes if you can't afford a Herpestat 1 or a Herpestat 3 or a Herpestat 4, or Vivarium Electronics. That's not my place. My place is to guide you to make the best choices for your animal, but that's not empathy to sit here and be like, I'm not going to sell that person a snake because he's not using what I use. That's not how it works. I'm not condoning using very cheap, thermostats, but that's one of the things I've been seeing lately. Like, don't talk down to people on their animals. They love their animals just as much as we love our animals. And I guarantee you, if you do a little bit of research on how to show empathy with customers and how to deal with that, I guarantee you'll see a difference of when you sell your snakes. But that's what I wanted to touch on because, like I said, I do have some experience in it. And this hobby is not just about breeding snakes. Anybody could breed snakes and make beautiful morphs if you buy good quality. But it comes down to how good are you at closing the sales, And that's what's going to make people want to come back to you. If you seem like you care and you give them the time of day and you show compassion for what they care about and their feelings about the transaction, they're always going to want to come back to you. Because guess what? There's going to be another jerk, which there's a lot of them, that they deal with, and they're like, you know what? Screw that. Even though I want that morph, I'm going to go back to XYZ Exotics or whatever your company's name is. But it does make a difference. It's not all about bashing people. And I honestly can't understand being on Facebook and seeing how these guys are treating potential customers, because everybody's a potential customer. I don't understand how somebody says something on Facebook and you're jumping down their throat, you're making them feel like garbage. I was taught being professional is pulling somebody aside and saying, hey, do you mind me giving you a couple recommendations? This is what I do with my snakes, because in this hobby you lead by example. It's not do as I say, not as I do. So that's just my input on it. I think this video would help because it's something that people do overlook. Stay tuned for another video because I'm going to touch on other things, because there's different sales traits, there's different personalities people have, and I think anything that I learned over the years that I could share with you will help you guys being a better breeder, being a better salesman, and just expanding your collection. But that's all I have to say for today, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you guys can see when my new videos are coming out. And I appreciate you guys watching, and have a great day.